And to me, that's successful. But if I'm forced to do more things that I don't enjoy than I do, then that's not a success to me, no matter how good I am at that thing.
Yeah. My success comes from waking up every day and being able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, whilst working towards something that's meaningful.
Because it's the understanding of you're a human. And like you said, you're a human being, 2 arms, 2 legs. We need connection and community. That's what we need as humans.
So when we lose, which is often, I don't care.
It's weird because I'm being pulled at both ends. I want to be the best, but then there's the bit of me that never wants to be the best.
Mm-hmm. But you know that that's going to keep you on your trek to getting there. So what does success mean to you, Lee?
Success to me is a feeling rather than something that I can hold or aim for, or it's a tricky one. I think success originally for me as a kid would have been how well you can do something, at school. Did you get first place? Did you get 4 house points for your homework? Whatever, are you the best at what you do? That would have been success for me. Yeah, I think all through growing up, that was what it was. Are you the best at what you do? That was success. Then over my life, you realise that there's got to be other factors, surely, towards success. Because no matter how good you get at something or some things, doesn't always mean you're happy. That doesn't always mean you're enjoying the moments in your life. So success for me, I look at it as a long-term thing. What do I think I'm going to want in long term in my life? And it's a place of happiness. And when I say happiness, I've actually changed my mindset on this lately as well. I don't always want to be happy. I think what I mean when I say happy is I want to enjoy my days. I want to enjoy the things that I'm doing. Whether that means I'm messing around in the garden or I'm doing this here with you today. I want to just enjoy it. And to me, that's successful. But if I'm forced to do more things that I don't enjoy than I do, then that's not success to me, no matter how good I am at that thing.
Yeah.
I could be the best hairdresser in the world, but if I find myself miserable more than I'm not, then to me that's not success. Once upon a time it would have been though. And then there's another part of it is bringing value to other people as well, trying to leave things a little better than I found them. I think those are the 2 most important things to me. Enjoy my moments and bring value to others in a beneficial way, in a positive way, because it can also be, you can also bring benefit in quotes to people in a misleading way also, which in the long run isn't beneficial for short-term gain. So that's really it for me, man. Look, being able to have time to look after my physical health and mental health, but these all things gather up to be what is me enjoying my time and enjoying the moments in my life. That's it really, man. That's success to me.
That's great. We can end the podcast here.
But that's just how I look at it. It's not a certain thing. I don't care for cars. I don't really care for clothes. I don't care for a lot of material things. I really don't. Yes, I would like to get a reasonable amount of money in my life, but I feel like that's because I need to do that to be of most value in my life as I can be, because again, being strapped behind a chair or doing stuff that, that's not overly beneficial to me is not a good way for me to spend most of my life, and I can't be of most value that way. And that's really it, man. That's success to me. It really is a feeling more than something that you can get your hands on. Yeah. What about you? What's success for you?
Well, it's interesting that you say that it's changed over time. So, like, I'm going to talk about what success is for me right now in my life today. And I'm going to also touch on what it was for me at a certain point. Again, I think our conditioning is massive in terms of what we think or what we deem as successful. I think you could ask everybody in the world this question and they'd all answer something similar to a degree. But I think as you progress and you get older, like naturally in life is just progression anyway. As every second ticks by, we get a bit older. So as you get older and you start to understand yourself more, you gain more self-awareness, you start to realize that, and once you start to experience the things that you once deemed as successful and still feel the same, I think you realize that no thing in particular is going to bring you a different feeling.
No.
So I think success is an inside job. For me,
100%.
Success is an inside job. It's nothing on the outside. It's an inside job, because we can literally, it's like the thing that you always say to me as well. It's like, you don't have to necessarily experience something to learn from its mistakes. And when you listen to people, if you're listening to the right people to guide you in the direction that you want to go, you're listening to people who are going to positively impact the direction in which you want to take your life in your context, then they all say the same things. Money doesn't bring you this, money doesn't bring you that. Yes, money is like, so this is something that, again, that I heard recently, but it's so easy to see success as money because it's the easiest thing we can measure. How can you measure a feeling, really, in terms of giving it a number or a metric? Money is the perception of success, right? Yes, in many regards, you can say you're successful in that pillar of your life. If you think about it in the network, right? Like, of course, I want to have a successful business. A successful business doesn't always mean making an astronomical amount of money. A successful business is working, in my opinion, towards something meaningful that provides value. And like you said, leaving the world in a better place than when she found it. So for me, my perception of success has definitely changed. I grew up in a high performance professional sport mindset, and in that mindset, success is winning. It's the conditioning that you're driven to do, win. But really, like, within that, if it's coming at the detriment of your mental health, which it was, then is that really successful? So I think it's a very personal question, like what success is. But for me personally, before we get into more depth on the topic, my success comes from waking up every day and being able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, whilst working towards something that's meaningful. And that's it. I think if you're working towards something, for example, for me, on a personal level, if I was working towards something that wasn't, in my eyes, meaningful, and I'm going to give an example on this, and I'm sorry if I offend anyone in advance, but for example, there are enough clothing labels in the world for us to be clothed for the rest of our lives.
Yep.
So I personally witnessed my partner Hannah fall victim of thinking that to be successful, she had to follow what was normalized on Instagram. She's a pretty girl, she likes fashion, she likes her clothes and stuff like that. At that time, she probably liked them more. She tried to do the fashion label thing, and I couldn't help but, again, learn from that experience because I was watching her go through it, and it wasn't meaningful. And the people that she was going to be around weren't her people. They weren't her tribe. Yep. And she was just falling victim of the system in a way. And I just found it interesting that, like, I got to watch that from a bird's eye view, and I saw it, and like I was like, okay, well, how are you going to work towards something meaningful? Bringing value to people from a human connection standpoint is amazing. Like, what we do is we help people gain a clearer understanding of what they can do with their lives.
Yeah. 100%. It's all those metrics are crazy to look at, and like success. What are you basing the metrics of success on, and who made those up? And again, like you touched on, every pillar in your life requires a different. You can be successful in those different areas, and it might require a different level of success. So one thing that I think, well, we've all seen it. Yeah, money determines your level of success. Again, it is easily calculated and easily measured, but it's also what dominates our world and our economies. Most countries don't operate without economies, because that's just a massive backward step, and we'd have to start again. And I would believe that most people would die, because not many people know how to hunt or grow vegetables, so they wouldn't know how to do the fundamentals of survive. So I think that's where the basis of all money comes from in terms of success. But we know firsthand a lot of people that have a lot of money who come into our shop, and honestly, are they the happiest people that I know? Absolutely not. You know, deep down, I feel there's turmoil in them.
Do I feel envious of them? Do I want to be them? No, I don't want to be them.
And look, money. Again, they always say money can't buy happiness, or money doesn't bring you happiness. But a lack of money brings unhappiness.
Yeah.
Because exactly like what I just said, countries in the world up to this point has been built on economies, and economies need money. And if you don't have money, you're going to be unhappy, because life's just going to be hard for you. You're not going to be unhappy because you don't have the thing, money. You're going to be unhappy because life's hard, and it sucks for you.
But if your mentality is that money brings you happiness or brings you success, then you're forever going to be chasing success, because money is infinite. It never runs out. But if you look at it from the perspective of, I have enough now.
Yeah.
Like, am I happy with what I'm doing on a daily basis?
Yeah.
And am I creating meaningful and relationships, and am I connecting with people? And that's where you get your happiness. Think about like when a time in our lives when we were most happy. Like when I think about it, it's probably when I was a kid, unaware.
Always comes back to
unconscious.
being a kid. Yeah.
So look, like you said as well, it provides a certain amount of freedom, but like, how do we know when enough is enough?
Yeah.
And that's where the line needs to be drawn, and that's where success can very quickly turn into turmoil. It can turn into destruction.
Yeah. It could be a downfall.
Yeah. It kind of scares me a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, me too. And that's where, it takes the personal work though. You have to do your own research, and there's so many layers to this. I've gone through a lot of these cycles over the last 10 years of working out who I am and why I'm like that, and what triggers certain parts of me to try to control those things. Because I know that success, I could be just fully focused on being the best at this, that. It will just destroy me. It will absolutely destroy me, because I'll look back one day and go, wow, I didn't really enjoy an ounce of that, Because what meaning did I give to the world? I get so much meaning and value and true happiness out of helping people for positive. That's where I get mine from, and I've done many different things to prove that to myself. When it comes to different therapies and journeys and things like that, and it's a recurring theme. It's part of my personality, and I need to feed into that. But something about the money with success, anyone who thinks that is the only thing is like, all right, I think a good exercise to do is look at, where do you think that came from? Someone had to tell you that, and if nobody told you that, what would it be? I think another reason why I think money might be a good driver of success is, again, because it drives our economies. But deep down, if you had nothing, success to you, I think, would be surviving and pleasure. I think, as the hunter-gatherer human, what are they trying to do? They're probably trying to survive, and they're driven by pleasure as in eating or whatever else brings you pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what humans do is deemed as successful to the human brain.
Yeah.
Money has just added another layer of that. Now there's tokens we can get where we can buy things that help us to survive and help give us pleasure. We've just changed it up to a different level.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. But I think, again, like you said, how does that look when you've got enough? Or how do you decide how you have enough? Or what's enough? Or what's a good level? But for me, it's just been perspective shifts over the years. It has to be. I've done so much self-work and looking at the work of others. Again, looking at really big-time investors. Like, I know Warren Buffett is a popular name, but what a smart dude. Like, not just about investing. See, a lot of people don't realize he's got a sidekick as well, Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger is like the brains behind Berkshire Hathaway. So Warren Buffett is the guy that knows how to pick a good stock and a good business. Charlie Munger is the emotional intelligence guy behind them. He's the one that encourages, okay, yes, now we should go for it. Now we should do this. So I've looked at a lot of like what they say about life and what's enough. And Charlie Munger even said himself, he's I think they're both coming up 90 or something like that. And he's like half blind and he's in a wheelchair most of the time and he's not doing great, even though he's one of the richest men in the world. And someone asked him, are you proud of like what you've done in this? He said, no. He's like, I'm not proud of how much money I've made. He was like, I got good at picking bits of paper that made me lots of money. So, and there he said it himself, this is a man with 60, 70, 80 billion dollars. And he's not overly proud of what he did.
Yeah.
And he's not, I'm sure he's happy, but where does it go? And I think those lessons are really good to listen to and to learn from. You go, okay, all right, well, $60 billion didn't make you happy in picking bits of paper. Or truly proud,
At a certain point, though, numbers just become numbers, like now, these days, for example, we did this campaign with Dyson. And at one point in my life, if you told me we would get over 1 million impressions on a video, which we did for the first time ever, I would have been like ecstatic about it, thinking, oh my God, imagine that. Imagine if 1 million people actually saw our stuff. It happened. Don't feel any different.
No. Here we
are. It's something that we were talking about the other day, but it's like, imagine you just had a couple of mil in the bank right now, like, how would it stop you? What would be different in your life, essentially? Like, what would you be doing right now that would be different? And it wouldn't be that much. No. I would actually still continue to do what I'm doing because I enjoy 100%. Doing it. And to me, that is successful. Like, if you can, on a daily basis, wake up, get to choose how you're gonna spend your day, and who you get to spend your day with, and you don't have the restrictions of money as one influence. It's only one factor of it. Look, when the word success pops up, money is always floating around somewhere close to it. It always is somewhere. Yeah. It has to be, because it doesn't make sense for it not to be.
Not to be in there, yeah.
Because that's how we live our lives, and I just don't think, it's so obvious for us to say this, as Lee and Owen, but like, it's not everything, and to me it's definitely not everything. I definitely want to be happy. I want to be able to provide for my family, to like look out for the people around me, make sure that everyone that I come in touch with, that I can impact in a positive way. And it's like, having money doesn't mean I would hand it out to people either. It means that, like, it's that whole saying, if you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. If you teach a man how to fish, you'll feed him for life. It's like you'll be able to have access to resources that are better so that you can develop, and then you can pass that on to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we're kind of doing in a way. Yeah. It's kind of like we're giving people the fishing rods and teaching them how to teach, like, or teaching them how to fish, sorry. But that's essentially what we're doing it. I feel super successful when I do that. When I don't feel successful, let's look at the other side of the scale. What is not successful to you?
All right. So
this is an interesting one too, because looking at
this, yeah.
what do you deem or feel like is unsuccessful?
Yeah. So something I was thinking about there while you were talking, and something that keeps popping up to me in the way that I've developed my life is I'm looking for that. I hate that work-life balance thing. I hate that. You know, a lot of people think that's success. They find a work-life balance. Like, okay, well, that's subjective because that's different to everybody. I feel like, I don't know if it's Simon Sinek said it, someone like that. It's about the work-life synergy, or just find a synergy in your whole life. And that, to me, like I was thinking then when you said, if you had a few mil in the bank, what would be different? I'm like, I don't actually know.
I really genuinely enjoy what we do.
Because
I
getting
love
to
it.
a point where my whole life is synergistic. So many people ask me still, even though we're in lockdown, they're like, Lee, when are you going to take a day off? Or when are you going to take a break? Or when are you going? Someone messaged me yesterday, right? For our birthday, I put up a story. I was on a quad bike, and they were like, oh, it's so great to see you actually taking some time out. I was like, but no, you don't get it. Like, this is the synergy of me enjoying my life, enjoying my moments. I'm trying to fill my life with moments that I enjoy.
Stop planting seeds.
Yeah, don't put things in my head that aren't there.
Planting a seed,
but that's how other people live their life, and I don't know. And the particular person that said it to me, I don't know how many other ways I can say it, but that's, for me, that's what life is, and I don't know how to help people understand, like, why are you doing things that I know deep down, I can tell by the way that you talk about them, you really don't ultimately enjoy them, and you don't really agree with the way that it's going, but you do it anyway, and you live for the weekend, and you live for your holidays, and you live for your breaks, and you live for your time off. That's fine, but I don't want to be that person. Like you just explained earlier, success, let me choose how I want to spend my days. Today I want to go to the beach, I'm going to the beach. Is it me taking a break? Nope. It's me enjoying my moments in my life.
Yeah.
That's what, and it's the synergy of my life. I don't need a break. I don't know why I would want to be. So this is not successful. This is a life not successful to me. Me having to take a break from my life.
Because
that's not success to me.
That's when you're out of alignment.
Yeah.
So to me, that is being unsuccessful, is being out of alignment.
Yeah.
And having to live two separate lives. To me, work-life balance sounds like this. I live two separate lives. And I have to make time for both.
Exactly.
Why can you not just live one life? That's great all around.
And be fully present in it.
So this is the thing with happiness too, right? Like, so if success equals happiness, should we not always aim for a baseline of happiness that is pretty high, and then just go, it will always have its peaks and troughs, but it's pretty high. Work-life balance looks like this. This is success equals happiness to me in a baseline. Just here it is, floating nicely. Oh, there's my birthday, little speed ramp. Here's something bad happened. It goes down a little bit. This is work-life balance to me.
Yeah, horrendous.
No, it's actually down here most of the time, and then weekend
comes back up.
Back down again.
Yeah.
Weekend.
Yeah.
Back down again. Weekend. That to me is unsuccessful.
And that, because to me that just looks like you need to take a break from your life. And look, I'm having even realizations thinking about this now. This has come up in relationships and all sorts of stuff for me. People think that I am going to take a break sometime. I'm just not, because I am just trying to live a synergistic lifestyle. And that's going to sound wanky, and people are going to be listening to that being like, Lee, did you just make that shit up? No, I definitely heard it from someone smart, but that's how I think about life. I just want to enjoy my days, and that's why you can see both of us, you and me. I mean, you probably work even more than I do, but it's like 7 days a week for like a month straight. Why? Because it's synergistic. At the end, we're almost bloody energized at the end of that. We're like, what's next? Why? Because we don't have to take a break from our life. We are trying to optimize the moments and enjoy them. But
it's exciting, and it gives the people around us joy.
But it spreads.
It spreads.
Like, people to be around us is exciting.
And that's how I was actually. So yesterday, right, like in the world of Owen McCarthy, like I took a day off. So how did that look? I went. It was my birthday, so I went out for a bike ride, and I just did all these things, right? But I had a day of reflection rather than more than anything else, which was also productive. Not taking a break from my life, but just having a day of reflection. And I just thought about, like, I was thinking about different things. I was like, what's it all for, you know? What's it all for, like, going forward? And why am I doing these things? Like, at what point, like, what do I want to be able to do with the things that I'm trying to create?
Yeah.
And ultimately, it comes back to being able to give back to my family and stuff the way that they've provided for me. I'd love to be able to, like, I haven't told my mom yet, but I'd love to be able to buy my mom salon off her.
Oh.
And just put her into retirement.
Well, that's my dream.
Know?
I would love to be able to retire my parents to Australia.
Yeah.
Be like, there's a house. Don't worry about money for the end of your days. Like, whatever retirement money you got, just do what you need to it. But I would love to be able to do that.
And I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was saying it to Hannah. I was like, you know what? Like, tomorrow, if I took away 100k profit from something, I would quite happily give most of it away to, like, my family, and then just keep working on what I'm doing, because I know I'll make another one. You know?
Yeah.
And or else I would just reinvest it and double it, you know. But that's where the success thing comes in, and it's like, we can't get too tied up on one idea either, because what if I did that and it wasn't the solution? Because there's a very high possibility that's the case. It's like me getting to a certain level of my cycling career and realizing, oh, this is it. I thought this was success. This looks miserable to me.
Yeah.
You know, and it was miserable.
Yeah.
And it was way different to what I thought it was. So I think people have this romantic idea of success and that it's always far away. But if you just stop for a minute and just feel, and it's going to sound funny because Hannah always says it to me, but she's like, are you a human being or are you human doing?
Yeah.
Just stop for a second and just be happy in the day. If you can wake up every day and you can be happy on a day-to-day basis and you can find joy, like you said, the moments, you can't just always be like, I'm just successful and I'm happy.
That's it.
It's like, you can't be shouting it from the rooftops like that, because it's not.
No.
That's not the true meaning of success. For me,
it's not really realistic.
I don't label myself as anything, right? So, for example, we do the hair competitions. The hair competitions can be a metric in measuring success within hair. For me, I personally don't look at them like that at all, because they're so subjective. So when we lose, which is often, I don't care. I am successful because I feel that I put my best effort into something that was meaningful, so that it will in turn give us a voice so that we can make a change.
Yep. Or
influence a change, not necessarily make anybody do anything. So we can try and influence a change and show our views. Like, that's where success is for me. Like, winning 15 times Australian Hairdresser of the Year and doing fuck all with it is not successful in my eyes.
Nope.
You can have all the accolades.
Yeah.
It's not successful.
It's successful according to the metrics of winning a competition.
Again, in my eyes.
But yeah, get into this. Opinion.
Get into that.
Yeah.
Get into the metrics of winning the competition.
Yeah,
I like this one. I like this one. I like this.
But it is. It's only success in the metrics of competition, of the people that made those metrics, then and there, that day, the people that are judging it, the people that are around you. You're only the winner there and then.
And we can say this, and you know why we can say this? Because we've won the competitions as well.
And we've lost the competitions.
We've won them, we've lost them, we've been there, we've taken part. We're not naysayers shouting from the fucking couch. Like, we've done it, we've been there, we've been in the trenches, we've won, we've lost, we've gone through all the emotions, but one thing stays constant: our opinion of ourselves. And one thing also stays constant is our values and our feeling of personal success. Because if you're every day waking up and working towards something meaningful, and you are genuinely happy in doing so, you're positively impacting people around you, and the message that you're giving out to the world is ultimately doing better for the world,
Yeah.
that's enough
Fair
for
play.
me.
Fair play.
You don't need to wear Balenciaga, you don't need to wear whatever it is to be deemed as successful, because at one point, as we touched on in previous podcasts, I think we all get caught up in this spiral of it at some point in our lives. I think, again, coming from the conditioning and what we thought success was as a kid versus, you know, how it's positioned in today's world of the social media age. You know, you might look at somebody like Kylie Jenner and look at all these people on Instagram who are deemed as these really successful people. But at their core, when you watch all of the Netflix documentaries about them and this and that, it clearly shows that a lot of them are struggling.
They're broken. They're not very happy.
No, because they don't have freedom.
No, and they've only focused on success in one area of their life. They've only had, you know,
they're show ponies,
business
essentially.
or fame success. But there's just 2 places of life.
Yeah.
There's 50 other places you can have success in, which complete the circle. But like you were touching on with the competition thing. All right, if you win, all right, that's a success moment there for you. But then what? You know. But then what when you do win? What do you do with it? And exactly like you said, I think it's about what you do with it next. That really counts. And I think some of the key words that you were saying there was like the positive impact to people around you. You know, that's the key word there. People can talk about impact, but is it positive? And where's the compass for that?
Because the impact that Kylie Jenner makes 90% of the time is not positive.
But people think it is, though.
But they think it is
so misled.
But it's not.
It's
Because
not. It's
why?
really not.
And why is it not?
Because of the mental health issues.
Because
So
there's a level of comparison. And hair is the exact same. The people who win the competitions, woo! We're the best!
It's red panty night.
We're the best, and we're not going to share it with anyone else.
Yeah.
And they do nothing with it. They sit back, they kick back and think, we're the best.
That's it.
Is that good for people?
But then
is
what?
that good for people's mental health? In terms of, this is the thing though. It's like, I can't wait, because one of these days we're just going to win one of these competitions, and we're going to say it's not about that. This is not what we were chasing. It's what we can do next.
Yeah.
And this might be premature, because this is what I'd love to get into this more, but it's about what you do with that, not taking it and being like, this is for me. What are you really trying to create?
What you're really trying to say, what you're really trying to do. Look, you know, future thinking. If we ever win anything big, I'm never going to stand there. Do you think I'd put all that money and time into doing a photo shoot just to say I'm the best? Like, no, I'd rather not do it.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather just not do it and put that money into other things.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see the value in standing there and being like, oh, I'm the best men's hairdresser because I produced these 6 images that are the best. It's like, all right, well, to me that just sounds empty. There's a little bit of my child brain in there that's like, yeah, you're the best, but then it quickly gets quietened by how I really feel. And I know that happiness will last about 5 minutes, and I'll just get the blues afterwards, and I'll be like, oh,
yeah.
What now?
But that's where stuff like success and legacy are different, in my opinion. Because you can have short-term success,
yeah,
and people will quickly forget. Like there's plenty of people that we've come across in our time, and you know, we've been to different competitions and this and that, and it's like there's not many people that, if you said to me, who won X award on this year, I wouldn't be able to give you the answer, because they didn't make an impact. They might have won the award and they might have been the best in the metrics at that time, but what was said afterwards or what was done afterwards to really drive home the legacy. And I think that's why we remember people like Vidal Sassoon, because he wasn't afraid to push the boundaries, do something different completely that hadn't been done before. You know, I even think in terms of the industry in general, there's very few people in my eyes who really push things to a point where it's very inspiring. That's just being honest. So to me, I don't look at somebody and just because they have this or they have that or whatever, if somebody says that guy is successful, is he successful though? Because I don't know on a personal level, yes, you can argue to say he's successful in one level, but on a personal level, when he wakes up every day, is he successful?
Exactly.
And what is he doing with other people? Like, another thing, because the reason why we're speaking about this topic today is, again, coming back to Instagram, and I put up a thing saying, what is success to you? And not many people could answer the question, because not many people know the answer to the question, because they're too influenced by what they're seeing around them and listening to all the external noise that they forget about the fundamental and core values of what success actually is. And to me, a response that we got was, one response was that some previous boss that the guy worked for had told him that he would never be successful in a certain location. Coming from a successful person, in quotes, coming from a successful person, the fact that somebody has to do that to somebody else and try to make them feel a certain way, does that show that that person is really successful? I don't personally think so.
No.
Because you can take the Apple and Microsoft thing that Simon Sinek talks about. Apple being and feeling successful. Because Microsoft are also successful. In the definition of the word, but it's the feeling of, do you feel successful? Because if you really felt successful, would you have to bring somebody down to a level and tell them you will never do this or you will never do that?
No,
you don't have to. You should be empowering people.
Exactly.
And that's how you will get more successful and more people behind you. What good is it what good is it for us, not to say that we're anywhere near the top of the industry, but what good is it for us to not share these views and keep them to ourselves? Because clearly we get a nice positive response. People enjoy our conversations. People enjoy what we put on our Instagrams, and we interact with the people. But it's also interesting to see when you do get a level of perceived success, where you become finalists for competitions and you do this, how people start treating you differently. And I've witnessed it in my career, and it's funny because, and we won't mention any names, but there's times when I started, certain people wouldn't even give you the time of day. They wouldn't look at you in the eyes. They wouldn't do anything because they were above you in their eyes. I'm this person. I've got this many followers, so I'm not going to talk to that guy. Or who are you? Absolute fucking horseshit. Like, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And anyone can attest for this. 99%, I may have missed one or two messages, I'm sorry, but 99% of the messages that people send me I always respond to, and a lot of the time with a voice note. And I don't look at your followers. I don't look to see, I'll respond to somebody with 100 followers or 10 followers or fucking 100,000 followers in the exact same way, because they're just people to me. And I think that also contributes to our success, in quotes again, because we don't look at anything as unachievable. Like, I look at somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo and I think he's a fucking specimen of a human being. But I don't look at it as unachievable. The man just worked harder than anyone else to get to that level, and and he created that for himself.
Exactly.
Why can we not do the same? We've got two arms, we've got two legs, we wake up every morning. You create your own success.
You can create it, Like, it's great, like, talking about, I've been really exercising that lately. I mean, I'm an absolutely nobody in the social media world, like, but even people just sending messages, I've been doing the same. Send them 4, 5, 6 voice notes,
But this is the thing too.
It's fine, like, I don't care.
But even in what you just said, you being a nobody, and who's to say?
Even so,
who's to say that?
Exactly.
Who's to say that somebody with 100 followers doesn't have 90 followers who are very good clients of theirs?
Exactly. Yeah.
For example, an education business has 100 followers on Instagram, but 90 of them are paying clients.
There you go.
And it's same type of thing. Another education business has 100,000 followers, and 90 of them are paying clients. Who's more successful? They're the same.
Exactly. Same.
In terms of that metric. But
so and look, there you go. There's the bias in my mind going back to what's deemed successful.
And it's hard to get rid of it. It's hard to shake it.
It's really hard.
We're aware of it.
But
there's certain things, even things for me, like I'm doing Charlie's mentorship program, and I was like, look, I was chatting to him a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, look, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be really going back to the shop on a full-time basis. And he was like, what's unfortunate about that? And I was like, fuck, that's just my mental programming saying things in auto response.
Yeah. And like I was saying, so I'm really exercising at the moment, replying to absolutely everybody. And I don't care, I've never cared who the following, whatever, one follower, 1 million followers, I couldn't care less. Because it's the understanding of you're a human. And like you said, you're a human being, 2 arms, 2 legs. We need connection and community. That's what we need as humans. And the average human, I think research shows that you're only really designed to like cope with about 150 people. That's really it. That's all you can really handle. Yeah. So anything over that, it's just noise.
Yeah,
so who really cares, And so it's really not a good mark of success or any kind of anything like that. But again, social media is not a good one to go by, is it? Because like you said, you could have 100 followers and 90 are paying clients.
All perception.
You could also have 10,000 10,000 followers. 9,000 of those are paid for. They're not even real people.
And it comes back to our last podcast about perception of success. And yes, there is a responsibility of us to create a higher perception of the value that we can offer in our service, only if it's done in an ethical way and moral way.
100%.
If it's immoral and it's unethical, then it shouldn't really be done.
And I love that conversation too. It's like, how do you decide what's moral and ethical? Where's your compass on that? I say it to so many people. I'm like, you need to get clear on where your compass is on that stuff. Because people are like, well, I bring value to the world. Why? Because I own a great clothing brand. It's like, yeah, but where's your ethical compass? What are you doing for the environment? What are you doing for people? Do people need more clothes? Do they need to be force-fed more hype and told that glamour and beauty and the way they look and a perfectly fitting t-shirt is what makes them a better human? Like, to me, that's not really overly ethical at this moment in time.
Yeah. If you create, I like the idea of it. If you create like a community around it too, and everyone, you bring people together who have similar values who might not have been brought together before, but it just doesn't do that, unfortunately.
No, the way that it's done right now doesn't do that.
No,
it's rare. That's rare.
It makes people want to stand out and have their own identity.
Exactly, because they want the pedestal, and again, they want to win on the metrics of what society tells them is winning and success right now.
Yeah.
Again, like most things we talk about, deep-seated issues, deep-seated systematic issues. But again, it starts with us, it starts with, on the human level, the single human level, I've just changed a little perspective shift. Mm-hmm. It really does.
So yeah, let's tie it back in a little bit to the point of success and what it means for us, what it means for you, whoever's listening to this. I think it's a really interesting question to ask yourself, because are you just going off of the perceived success that is being pushed in your face every single day, every single minute? Like, I'm driving yesterday, right? Like, and I stopped and I seen this big banner for some sort of like fitness thing. It was some sort of gadget, right? Because I looked it up afterwards just out of intrigue. So the marketing worked. Billboard marketing very rarely works these days. But it was some sort of thing to tone up your abs without doing the workout. And it was like 30%. It was like something like 30% less fat, 25% more muscle. Now, anyone would look at that and think, great, I can get 30% less fat, thinking that you have 100%. It's completely rubbish anyway, right? But there's this picture of this lady on the banner, and she's like, her abs are just perfectly toned and this and that, and it's like, it's just pushing out the wrong message to people, making them feel worthless. Like, is that a successful brand? No. It's teaching people all of the wrong principles. It's teaching people that is the perceived view of the successful person, looking a certain way. So that's what you should aim towards and work towards. So that's what's being shoved down our throats every single day. Every time you look on social media, it's all fucking nonsense. But on a deep level, coming out of that for a minute, because it's such a bubble and you get so caught in a cycle of that, coming out of that for a minute and just thinking about Are you happy when you wake up? Is everyone around you okay? Are you not having any stresses? Are you working towards something meaningful? Are you avoiding a work-life balance? Because if you are in that work-life balance thing, and it's just thrown around, that's just an auto response from people these days, I feel. Oh, work-life balance, that's what it's all about. Why? No. Like, if you're working towards something meaningful and what you're passionate about, you shouldn't care about like what time you're working until. Yes, it's good to set boundaries, because then the next day you might be more enthusiastic if you have other meaningful things that take priority over it. But if you don't, going out and getting on a fucking sesh that's not work-life balance. That's an excuse for being unsuccessful and not happy.
Really deeply unhappy with what you're doing. And like you say, if you are happy with what you're doing and where it's going, you don't care about how long it takes. You don't care if it's going to take 10 years to do.
No, you're actually happy. You're actually happy to. I look at that now and I'm like, it's the same. It's the principle that Gary Vee talks about him buying the jets. He doesn't really want it to happen.
No.
So you have to set something so big up in your mind that it's your moonshot, like, you know, it's your goal that's so far away that it's going to keep you working towards it on a daily basis. And actually taking a step back and sometimes just being happy with the journey is success. Because when you get there, you realize that it was actually the getting there that was the successful part.
And again, I think, what does that come back to? The enjoyment. You're enjoying the moments. Because once you success, it's almost like it's cut off. It's done. It's gone. You're like, oh, I've got to find something else to do now to enjoy all of my moments. Yeah. So say you took something that took you 10 years to do. You know, all those moments, boom, 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 boom. Oh, I just got to get to the then boom, it's gone. What are you going to do for the next 10 years to enjoy all of your moments?
Yeah, you can't.
You know, it's like
you can't just place your perceptive or your like feeling that you think you're going to get on something. That might never happen.
Because then what? And it's funny. I'm trying to challenge myself now. It's like, if you take all of this away from me now, I'd actually be probably a bit cut by it. Not because because I've lost the perception of what people think of me, and we have an academy and a business. No, it's not that. It's I lose a lot of purpose in what I do in my day-to-day life. You know, I just lose that, and I lose a lot of those enjoyable moments in my day-to-day, my purpose, the meaningful work, the meaningful connections. I'll lose a lot of that.
When you talk about purpose, this is an interesting one, because I know I've seen people close to me struggle with it. Like, there's almost this culture that's created online now as well, that everyone needs to have their purpose so clear. And it's like, it's really difficult, because at one point in my life, I thought that my purpose was to be a cyclist, and it changes. So something else that we hear in podcasts that we listen to, but it's like your purpose isn't some Easter egg that you're on the hunt for in the garden. Like, it's not that. It's just, and it can change. Don't ever get too caught up in having one purpose. Everything can change. But yes, purpose is a part of happiness and success. No, like, working towards something that's, again, I'm going to say it for the 20th time, meaningful. Keeps coming up in my mind. It just pops up all the time. If it's meaningful, if it's affecting other people like on a positive level, that is success to me. So
and I love that. Purpose changes, you know. I was the same when I started doing hair. My purpose was to be the best hairdresser in the world.
But that's the thing, is like,
that was it.
How can you be like, again, this is all our opinions, but like, how I could never be like, it's my purpose to just cut hair. But like,
I was born to cut hair. Well, no, you weren't.
You were born to do. You were actually born to do a lot of other things.
Yeah.
You were born to do whatever it is that you desire, and if you're the type of person who struggles to find your purpose and where you're going next, my best advice would be to just focus on the human things, like we always say.
I love it.
Just wake up, do the human things first. Put out positive energy, do the things you like, write down how you would ideally like your day to be, and work towards that. don't just get caught up in the idea of that you have to live in the way that the world has told you to live, because 90% of the time, and 9 times 99% of the time, 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up unhappy. And if you're unhappy, you're unsuccessful. No matter how much money you have, you can have 100 million and be unhappy. I see it all the time. I've seen it my whole life with people around me. Using it as examples again, they don't have to be your mistakes. You can look at somebody and say, yeah. Because this is the thing, I've been here in Australia, right? Like, and I've never had a lot of money, but I've had a substantial amount more than what I've had at certain times. And then it fluctuates, it goes up and down. It's the thing about what Kerwin Ray was saying about money being a currency. It's an energy, and it comes and goes. You can't be that attached to it for a certain level of happiness or success. It comes and goes. Like, it literally, it's there 1 minute, it's gone the next. You can't hold any emotional attachment to it. Yes, you need enough to live, but I've had $28 or something in my bank account over here. Yeah. You know, and I've not known where to go next, and then you become a slave in your own life if you end up there. So yes, a certain amount of money does matter. Yeah. But don't get greedy with it, you know.
It's almost like a catalyst, isn't it? You know, money is basically the fuel to get to survive, to get what you need next. That's how I look at it, and that's how I think about it as an energy. It really is it's an enabler. You know, money is the enabler to get things and do things and to survive. But yeah, getting back to like that whole thing of doing the human things first. I love that. I think we need to look at the whole industry like that, I feel, in terms of how successful the hair industry is as an industry. Is it geared towards, you know, optimizing humans in their physical health and mental health? You know, for me, I'd have to answer that as a no right now, but that can be changed, and I think these conversations are what helps to drive that. Because until those metrics get better, you know, until people's actual physical health and mental health start to get better, I think then we can think, okay, maybe we're on the right path here. Yeah. Maybe this is, you know, we are successfully working together. Yeah.
I think as well, like when you ask yourself the question of like, what is success to you? Initially, you have to have the self-awareness to not give an answer that you think other people are going to want to hear. Yeah. If it is money, fame, and all these things, say that to yourself. That's the first step in self-awareness. Own it. Like we always say, own that. Yeah. If that's what it is to you, then just accept that, because like we said at the beginning, your success changes and your perception of it changes over time. So like maybe that's just where you're at right now. We're not encouraging you to change it. If that's what you genuinely believe, then that's what you genuinely believe.
And that's the consciousness around it is owning it. I say that to people with haircuts. It's totally fine just to be obsessed with your hair, but don't pretend like it's not. Yeah, just own it. I'm not gonna judge you. Just own it, because I know we're all on different journeys, but there needs to be. This is another conversation, but you can't expect me to resonate with you and to want to cut your hair if that's who you are. I'm not saying it's wrong. You just got to find the person. But anyway, that's besides the point. It's about owning it. Yeah, and it's totally fine.
Yeah. And that's fine. You'll find your tribe, you know.
You'll find your people.
That's it.
And I think it's that just having that awareness and that consciousness of just questioning yourself. If you're waking up unhappy, or there's friction in life, or you're unsettled more than you're not, maybe you need to have a little look at some things. And to me, that's what I did for many, many years. You know, I remember, I've had this conversation lately, I remember there was a point in my life where I'd go to work and I hated it. I would come home and I hated it. I almost hated all of the 24 hours I had in the day. Sleeping was my favourite thing. But even then I didn't give myself a lot of sleep because I was big into fitness and stuff like that. So I would be sleeping like 6 hours. That was my most peaceful time of my life. But go to work, hate it, come home, not really enjoy the people that I was around. Maybe you just need to be forced into those situations to be like, right, what am I really doing here? And that, And the reason I say that is because underlying all that, I was still successful to some degree in those things. I was still a very good hairdresser. I was still, doing all these things, but I just wasn't very happy.
Yeah.
And I don't really think I was bringing that much value to people at all.
And it's like, and I guess, look, in order to find that, sometimes you have to go through a bit of a turbulent time.
Yeah.
I think it's just remaining.
Well,
it's like the thing you always say, what your dad would tell you. Sometimes you have to just do the things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like if you want the benefits in the long run.
Yeah.
It's like, who really wants to exercise? It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But that it's gonna make you feel better.
Exactly.
It's like, who really wants to go for a cold shower? Because it's uncomfortable, but what it does for you in your mind.
Yeah. In the future, you.
Yeah, and like, just it's the psychological side of it rather than even beyond the physical. Actually, the physical benefits, the psychological side of being able to overcome that, and what that's going to do for you in all aspects of your life, and it just kind of snowballs into all of them aspects. It's uncomfortable, but you have to do it, and unless you've gone through a turbulent time or experienced something like that, then you don't know any different.
Which is you
don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, it's a great quote from it's that chick on YouTube, Teal Swan. I don't know if I might have put it in my Instagram story, but everybody talks about being the beacon, being the beacon for people. She said, but just remember, to be the beacon, you have to endure the burning. I thought that was great. Again, sounds wanky, but it's true. The best beacons have endured the burning, and they continue to. And I think what that means is almost like Stoic philosophy. You are always looking at and reassessing what you're doing. And that, again, that's pain. The burning is almost the pain of like constantly reassessing what you're doing. Okay, are these the answers to the problems that we have moving forward? Is this ultimately, am I truly happy, and am I bringing value to the world in a positive way? And where's my compass on that? And I think that guides a lot of what I do. That's how I set up my life. That's how I set up success for me. That's what it looks like for me. Again, it might change. Who knows?
Yeah,
it could change. But I'm open to it changing. I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
because that brings more learning and more challenges and more growth moving forward into the next parts of my life.
All right, so let's end this podcast on a couple of questions, one each. I'll ask you first. Do you feel like you are successful? Or like, do you think you're successful?
Do I think I'm successful? Yes. In the metrics that I set myself, yes. Are there things that I still want to achieve in terms of success? Yes, there always will be. I think that comes back to a point of humility, though. I don't ever want to feel like, it's weird because I'm being pulled at both ends. I want to be the best, but then there's the bit of me that never wants to be the best. Because
but you know that's going to keep you on your trek to getting there.
Exactly. So, am I successful? Look, anyone looking at my career to this point would be like, Lee, you've been successful. Do I feel like I've ultimately achieved everything that I can achieve? No. And that's what makes me feel like there's still stuff to come. Physically, do I feel successful? Absolutely. I feel like I take care of myself physically quite well. Mentally, like 75 to 80% successful. I think I've done very good work over the last 10 years in digging through mental things of myself. And spiritually, I would say the same. 70%, 70-80% successful, because again, it's constant conscious effort. And yeah, like I'm very happy. Like, again, I think it's I enjoy my moments. I enjoy my time. I'm not looking for a life of ecstatic happiness, because I know that's unrealistic. Whenever I come across people like that as well, I get a bit concerned. I'm like, are you hiding something? How are you that happy all the time? Maybe they are. Maybe it's just their default mode. But for me, I'm not looking for ecstatic happiness all the time. I'm looking for baseline tranquility and to enjoy those moments. And I know that those really ecstatic, happy moments come as peaks. they will just come, and I live for those peaks. And that's just where it's at. There's always more to come. There's always more to do. I love being in that growth and learning mindset. So again, I'll set metrics for myself based on whatever's going on at the time. And then when I hit them, I think, okay, that was successful there. But yeah, overall, feeling very successful. And I think something that's played part of that as well is coming to the understanding of being more than just hair, like you touched on at the start. Is like, you are more than just hair, and that was big for me. That was a big turning point. If you take hair away from me tomorrow, am I still okay? I'd still be okay, because I've got all those other things the metrics of my life that I focus on success with. So what about you? Do you feel successable?
Yeah, I do. I feel successful.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
That's good.
But yeah, no, all jokes aside, I do feel successful. And it's a feeling that I've always had deep down. And like I said in my story, I don't ever listen to anybody else. And nobody can tell me anything that's going to change my opinion of myself. So
I like that. As a external person, you come off as a very successful person. That's just as a outsider, and I think a lot of people probably think the same. So
I'm still in a very deep, like, self-discovery stage to realize that it's more than just about what I've done to determine that success. And I would say 99% of the time I'm pretty happy. Again, like, you can't be happy all of the time, and just because I'm not happy at one particular time doesn't mean I'm unsuccessful.
No.
So, like, I think I look at it as I'm successful.
And like the happy thing, I just worry about the ecstatic happiness all the time. It's like I just don't think that's a realistic state to be in. But
no, I actually don't really ever get that way. I've very, very rarely been, like, ecstatically happy about something.
No.
Because I maintain, like I said earlier in the podcast, I maintain this level of consistency across all areas of my life that give people that perception of my success. But it's nothing more than just operating at a higher level than most at most things.
Yeah.
It's not even operating, it's putting in the effort.
Yeah. There's
people who are better than me at everything, but it's like a skill stacking thing.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in another podcast because it's a deep one. But if, that's where I'm perceived as successful in what I do. But the main reason why I feel like I'm career successful is because I'm not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
And that's why I would deem myself as successful, because I'm brave enough to take challenges on.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of anything, and nobody can sway me from my path and my journey once I feel like I'm doing something positive and meaningful for myself and everyone around me and everyone who I encompass, and I'm living a life true to myself and I'm not telling lies about what I'm doing, then that's successful to me.
Perfect.
As long as I'm not telling lies, like putting up shit on my Instagram that's not true.
You don't need a facade. That's it.
No, what you see is what you get. Yeah. And often what you see, you get more than what you see.
Because it's backed up.
It's backed up
tenfold. And, looking at, it's funny, isn't it? Looking at the outside, looking in, all right, you look like a successful person, but then someone could equally just laugh at it.
Yeah.
Even for me, it can be. It's a very humbling moment for me. Again, little fish in a big pond. It's a humbling moment to think that someone could just look at your career and everything and go, "Is that it?"
Yeah.
I always think like that. I think it's a good exercise. No matter how big or successful you think you are, people think you are. It's humbling just to sit back and just go, someone else could go, is that it?
But I would. But if somebody said that to me, and this is where the mindset comes in, and it's like, if somebody was to say that to me, I would think, great. Oh, if I'm not there yet, then what is it going to be like when I get there?
That's it, and it excites the shit out of me, because I'm like, I think it's like, pretty good now.
They don't think that I'm this, or they don't think that I'm that. Nah.
I'd be like, well, I think it's pretty good now. I'm enjoying myself now. how can you show me how I can enjoy it more? This is going to be great.
I don't want the ladder to end, you know. It's just another ladder, another step
Yeah.
forward.
And this is the exciting thing about what we're doing now, you know. I wish people could see what's coming, but it is us shooting for the moon, and that's exciting as hell, and I really don't ever want it to end. And
as long as I don't self-destruct in the process of what I'm trying to do in a meaningful way, then I'm successful.
Yep.
And as long as I'm aware enough to realize that I don't self-destruct, that I'm not going to self-destruct, then that's it. So I deem myself as successful. Do you deem yourself as successful? Ask yourself the question. Please reach out to us. Please let us know your thoughts on this topic, because we would love to gain as much insight as possible. In order to be able to deliver this type of content, we also have to hear and feel people's response. And I think going forward with the podcast, we're going to continue to cover topics like this. We would love some suggestions of what you guys would like us to cover. So please shoot us a message, leave a comment if there's any topics or anything that you want us to elaborate on from any of the previous podcasts. Even leave comments of potential guests who you would like to have on. Now look, we're going to be very selective over the guests that we have on. I think we really want it to be an in-person experience. So right now, in the current state of the world, that's quite difficult. But nonetheless, we do want to start introducing some guests from time to time. So if there's anybody in particular who you think would be a good fit, please let us know. We have our own list. We would love to gain some more from you guys. You have anything to say, Lee, to wrap this episode up?
Let's shout out to the sponsors before we wrap it up. So we've got the Jack Reed Foundation, CBD Culture, CBD oil for all your relaxation needs and anti-anxiety needs. We've got Tapped. What would you call these cards, Owen? They are digital business cards, environmentally friendly. You only need one business card to tap away and all your details come up on the card.
It's like the wow factor card for when
it's the wow factor making your success that much easier.
Yeah, look, I think organically we'll bring up in the future podcast a little bit more about our sponsors. I don't think these guys are good friends of ours and like people that we genuinely like working with, so we don't want to be overly plugging their stuff. So we'll organically bring it up over time. And again, we just want to say thank you so much if you've listened up to this point. We really appreciate it. The response so far on the podcast has been great. We love having these types of conversations, and we hope that you love to hear them too. So we wish you all the success. Have a great day and have a great life.